everybody, welcome to World of Pain. I'm your host, Lauren DeLuca. We've had a lot of activity in the community lately, and that is absolutely amazing to see. It's inspiring seeing so many people getting involved and getting their own personal stories into their local paper and even radio stations. So I am so proud of our community starting to come together and really speaking out against this human right and abuse in our medical care. So we wanted to do another edition to help ensure your success in your home state. One major thing that we need to do in order to combat this opioid crisis effect on the chronic pain community is to raise awareness of its effect on the chronic pain community. We all know that we are being lied to in our medical care and forced off of our medications against our will, which is causing terrible impact within the chronic illness community, with individuals no longer able to get out of bed, or worse, they're turning to the street just to get some relief and risking their life every time they do it. And some, unfortunately, have taken the final choice and have committed suicide just to end the pain that they cannot manage anymore because they have been cut off from their necessary and safe opioid analgesics that they were on for many years. So we have started the organization to fight back for this, as organizations that represent the disease funds. We're not focused on this particular issue, and it's impacting every individual with a chronic illness, disease, or chronic pain condition. So we wanted to raise awareness of that and make sure that the legislate, the media, the general public, and especially our medical team respects our rights and our need for pain management. So in order to do that, we need to break all this narrative that has been sent out from the CDC, from the media, from our legislate to the public. We need to create our own narrative and tell the people the truth. And in doing so, we will break the narrative that has been set out into the masses and has been repeated to the point that it is believed as gospel, that there is only one side to this, that opioids are bad and need to be removed unless you have cancer or end of life. There are many diseases in this world, thousands actually. Until I became a chronic illness patient, I had no idea so many illnesses existed and how horrific some of these are to the bodily systems. And we will go over a multitude of these illnesses throughout our shows on World of Pain to explore the various diseases that exist within our community that need to be raised, to have awareness risen of their existence, as well as the symptoms that go along with it that necessitate opioid medications. So in doing so, we'll be able to start breaking this negative narrative that continues to be spewed out from all of the papers, our legislators, and even our medical providers who have been instructed that they are not to be providing opioids and that they are to basically avoid them at all costs, even if the alternative medications are dangerous for the patient. It's been a rampant abuse, and off-label prescribing has gone out of control, with doctors reporting, when patients report problems with these medications, they're being dismissed, they're being accused of making it up, and it's creating seriously dangerous situations for all American citizens and individuals across this world. As America, we've always boasted being the big humanitarian country, so our decision to make this move is moving the needle across the globe, and other countries are being taken down. So we want to help end this destruction that is happening in our free medical enterprise system. And unfortunately, with the current administration, our pleas for help is falling on deaf ears. We have to make our own fight in our own home states, and so this video is to help you have successful meetings with your legislators. So let's talk policy, government, and who's who and what they can do. So first and foremost, we have our state legislators. Now, our state legislators, you have representatives that represent the districts in your city. Say it's split up into 6 sections, and you have 6 representatives. Each representative answers questions to the public. Issues that you're having about street signs, schools, you name it, they deal with it. They also deal with the big issues in your state too, like the opioid crisis and passing laws to try to combat it. And a lot of individuals who are state representatives, as well as state senators, they get a lot of their information directly from mainstream news like we do. And as we all know, the mainstream news is extremely biased and it's not telling the whole story. In fact, it's telling an inflated story and an inaccurate story, which is leading to what is happening to us in our medical care. So let's go out there and tell everybody what's really happening so that we can get our rights back. You know, nobody I have spoken to since we have started this work supports this government action. They just aren't aware of it. So it's our job to go out and let them know so that they can get involved and fight back. So first and foremost, every single one of us should call our direct state representative. And you can find every single individual you need to get in touch with in your home state on our website at ciaag.net. There's a legislative tab and it's live and in action, so it's not 100% complete yet, but that's because this is a real-time issue and we want to get that information out to you as fast as possible. So we have a little bit over half of it completed, and it has direct links for you to find out who is your direct state representative as well as your direct state senator. Now those are the individuals that are a lot more like you and I, so when you reach out to them, tell them what's happening because they might not know. As terrible and as consuming it is to our lives, it's because it affects our lives. So unless they have someone with massive disease or a serious chronic pain issue, they might not even know about it. And even if they do, they still might not know about it because that individual might be being lied to by their doctors and not know they're being lied to. Or they might be hiding how bad their illness is, as a lot of chronic illness patients do. Only let people see them when they're feeling relatively good, and even when they don't, they put on a fake smile and try to make do that things are okay, because, I mean, what else are you gonna do? We can't just be in a puddle and waddle in our sorrow forever. We have to deal with having chronic illnesses, and opiate medication helps us do that. It helps us be able to live our lives and engage with people and get out of our homes, and people don't understand how very, very important quality of life is. And we want all of our members to have that quality of life. You know, we should be living our lives, not fighting to save them. And through our work, we want you to live your life. We want you to live the best life possible. Everybody deserves that. So let your state senators and your state representatives know what's happening to you, because the majority of them do not. And I'm going to tell you now, it's not going to be easy initially convincing them that this is happening. A lot of them will not be honest and say that, you know, they'll take your concern and not necessarily get back to you, but you have to just call their office again and again and again and again. Before we raised this organization, I personally was making 20 phone calls per day all over the country. Agencies, state reps, United State reps. We need to just be all over them, and that's how we will get this change. There are 100 million chronic pain patients. That's a third of the country. Now, a third of the country is being affected. We can easily stand up and end this, but we have to stand up. And we'll get more support if we start explaining to people the one thing they don't understand. It's frustrating, but most of our representatives have only seen one side. They've seen the special interest side. And the special interest side, they excluded our data. They didn't include the fact that chronic illness patients need help. They're even saying that some cancers don't need help. As we recently learned, one clinic has decided that breast cancer does not need to have opiate medication. So we're adding a little misogyny into this now. It's getting more fun by the day. But you know what? We're getting bigger by the day, and that's because we support each other. So as frustrating as it can be, just have faith and keep calling. Don't let them make you give up. That's what they want. All right, so who's next? We all have our governors. Now, the governors have a special power to call what is deemed a state of emergency. And those are usually only called for storms and things of that nature, but this is an epidemic. This is a real public health emergency where people are dying in some of the most inhumane ways humanly possible. They're unfortunately, some are starving to death because they suffer from GI diseases, and opting not to eat is better than the pain that they're being put through. Some individuals, they just can't even get out of bed anymore. And sadly, like we said before, some are just opting to end their suffering through suicide because they don't see a way out of this, with the government changing the laws so aggressively and stigmatizing the medication that keeps us alive. So we need to call out to the governor and let them know we need a state of emergency. All we need is one state to come forward and do the right thing. Massachusetts did the right thing when they listened to their constituents and removed Section 41 from House Bill 4033, which was looking to set up another panel to make the CDC guidelines law. And that would have crossed over to every state before year end. So we can do this if we reach out and we explain what is happening. Show them the stuff that you know they haven't seen. Most of them don't know the CDC's lying. And if they do, they're not focused on it. They don't think the impact in the American public's that's big. They see the impact of the opioid crisis as bigger. So call your governors and let them know what's happening in your home state. And call your attorney generals. I know all the attorney generals are suing the manufacturers, so there's not going to be a whole lot of sympathy there. But if they're getting a ton of phone calls, attorney generals and the Health and Human Services, you definitely want to call them in conjunction with the attorney general. This is public health. This is illegal actions. They're violating the Hippocratic Oath. They're forcing doctors to lie to their patients, and they're fabricating research. This needs to be brought in front of Congress. This is very serious, and unfortunately the mainstream media hasn't decided to cover it yet, but we're starting to see a little bit of change. I've seen some great publications that I won't name that are out there starting to tiptoe towards our issue, and that's exactly how this is going to happen. They're going to get their feet wet and move over there, so we need to get them to move faster. So then we have our final round, which is our federal regulators. Now these are our U.S. congressmen, congresswomen, and senators. These individuals, they know what's going on. It was a little frustrating, our first round of meetings with federal legislators. Everybody pretended like we were the first one to tell them, and that it was like brand new news, and unfortunately that's not true. They totally know. But we've established some great relationships, and we're moving forward. We're moving forward in a positive way. There are some great legislators out there that do care, but they care because we basically had to chase them down and badger them and show them, look at what is going on. But once they looked, they agreed something was seriously amiss. So these calls with every level of government are vital. So I say for one action that any of us could do this week is call your legislators at every level. Go to our website at ciaag.net, go to your legislator tab, find your state, and then just start right at the top. You can plug in your home address and find out who your state representative and your state senator is. Call them up and let them know about what's happening in your medical care. Name facilities if you're having issues with facilities. Name doctors if you're having issues with a particular doctor. Call them out. And also on our website you'll see that there is a medical board tab, so you can file complaints with the medical board if you need to. You have rights and they're being violated. The only way we're going to be able to get them back is to use the channels that we are provided through democracy. And I know right now there's a lot of illegal action, so using the democratic channels seems a little bit like a lost cause, but it's not. There's people in those channels that care. There's people in the Department of Justice that care. Their hands are tied. They can't do anything, but they will when they can. And the more of us that fight and get up and get in people's faces and let them know that this has to be resolved, they have to help us. You cannot tell 26 million intractable pain patients whose pain is unrelenting 24/7 that they just have to accept it. There is no accepting that. It's humanly impossible. That's called torture. And America's not about torture. Not my America. So everybody, I just wanted to do this update. And this week, let's go out there and call our reps. Half of them are up for re-election. Remind them, they work for us. They want to ignore us and send us form letters. Well, we can go out and we can vote them out. And speaking of vote them out, if you go to our website on page 1, there is the there's the home tab. On the home tab, you scroll down, you'll see a nifty little calendar called Battleground 2018. And on there, you'll see a variety of activities, and we'll be adding stuff constantly as to where your town hall meetings are for you to show up and call your legislators out. As well as, if you're not registered to vote, go to our website as soon as you can and get registered. Find your state in our calendar for the date your primaries start. Click on the event, and the event will bring you straight over to your voter registration page of your home state. So we made it all nice and easy, one-stop shop to fight back on ciaag.net. Because you know what? Your voice matters, your pain matters, and you matter. So let's get out there and remind them of that. And let's remind them they work for us. In 2018, they help out or we vote you out.